That's why I'm super excited to have this man on the show, Mr. Omar Al Duri. Mister, how are you?
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me on the show, man. I was impressed with the intro as well. I like the videos.
Cheers, man. Yeah. Well, it took me a couple of times to get those voiceovers correct, but it came out in the end. It's
Yeah.
if you guys just saw those ones about it, like that is the world tour, and part of FFP is to literally showcase fitness, sports, wellness, and adventure. We have a 10-day spotlight on different destinations, and yeah, super excited about that one. So looking forward to getting people involved with that as well. But it's been a minute since we've been chatting. You now. Oh man, there's a few things that have happened. Obviously, the one that's kind of immediate is your Achilles. So give us a quick fill in on that. What happened there?
So I ruptured my Achilles playing football, playing sport, the sport that we love, and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it was unopposed as well. I mean, it could happen to anyone. There was no flags, no signs coming up to it. I was probably in a very good place, both on the recovery front and
Mm.
both on the prevention front. I was doing sauna, ice baths, all sorts of stuff, and it was
Mm.
great. And leading up to that, I played about 30 minutes, was nice and warm, got everything done, and then rupture. It went
Oh,
that everything. It was weird. I don't know if anyone's ever experienced that. I wouldn't wish it upon my enemies, but it was crazy, man. I felt like someone sniped my ankle. And I was looking, everyone was asking, why do you look behind you? But the diagnosis is from the surgeons normally is everyone looks
yeah.
behind them when they rupture their Achilles. So I didn't know that.
'Cause, like being kicked or something. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I,
100%.
I it happened in Jebel Ali, and the grass pitch is immaculate. So I can't even blame the facility.
Oh,
We've been playing there for the last 15 years. And
yeah.
yeah, full rupture. So at the moment now, I'm
Oh
currently on this
no.
bad boy right here, the stroller right there.
Woohoo.
See,
That's
those are my
fancy,
new
mate.
wheels. Those
Yeah,
are my new
love it.
wheels.
Because that's one of those things, right? Because like actually a lot of injuries come from the turf type of things, but this is on grass, so
Yeah,
far out. With that, and
yeah,
what you
no
just
excuses
landed.
on that front. It's perfect surface, man.
Well, are you landing? Were you running anywhere particularly? Like, you going for a
No,
tackle? Are you fielding
no.
the ball? Or
The first half an hour of the game, if I had ruptured my Achilles in that first half an hour, then you could understand why. And I didn't. Turning, I even hit one in the top corner of my left foot, which is my last goal.
Ooh. Beautiful.
But the one time where a pass came in and I came to control the ball, my back foot was in the grass, and as I came to push off, it honestly just full rupture. And I've never experienced anything like that before. So I first thing came to my mind was like, 6 to 9 months out. That's the first thing in my head as a coach. I'm like, oh my god. And then everyone, we've played football together as well. Like, I don't
Yeah.
stay down. If I fall, I just get up. And so everyone played on. And when they saw I didn't get off the ground, they looked at me, and then my wife was there. Maria came up to me, and I showed her my left Achilles, which was still there.
Mm.
And I said, Maria, do you
Mm.
see this? And she goes, yeah. I said, look at this one. And there was nothing there. And you could just see all of them go, oh. Yeah, it
Like
was not
picture in my
nice.
head, this image is like, but
Yeah, it was, it
you
was
took
not, it
photos
was, it
of it.
was not nice. No, I mean, post surgery, yes, just because they wanted to see how it would heal up and stuff. But it's been 4 weeks
Mm-hmm.
post surgery now. So as soon as I got the clearance from the doctor to go to the gym, even if it's just upper body, I was like, yeah, all right, I'm there. I'm gonna stroll my backside down to the gym, and and I started. You know,
This was actually this is a really good kind of scene to set right now because you are an athletic person, you are into your sports, you've been massively in fitness for such a long time as well, and then the psychological side of things when you go through an injury. I mean, I could share a few stories like how it just rips me down, pulls me down. You've dealt with things before, so how was the kind of the deal with it now? Like you said, you said 6 to 9 months. Is that kind of like despair or just like I've been there before, I can handle this one now? Or
You know, me and you have some in common. We're quite grounded people. Like we don't take anything for granted, right? I mean, your name is Grant, so you don't take anything for granted. Yeah, and the first thing I was thinking is, I can't be normal for X amount of time. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what plays through your head when you're thinking, oh, well, I train at two or three different spots. I do group training, I do boxing. Even football, I kind of reduced it to once a week when I used to play three times a week. For that specific
Mm-hmm.
reason, is where the injuries mainly would come from a team sport that you don't have fully control of how you're going
Yep.
to move based on a reaction or an action.
Yep.
So I think when it happens straight away compared to the other injuries I've had, I've torn my AC joint in my shoulder. I think that was like maybe 4 years ago or something, and the only two surgeries I've ever had is my AC joint and my Achilles, and they're both done from the same surgeon. So when he saw me this time, he's like, "I don't want to keep seeing you on on you getting injured." Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was just trying to not get into that kind of dark space, which as coaches we often give the advice out on how to get back into it, how to keep people involved, how you don't want them to be in their own head, so to speak. So for me,
Mm-hmm.
it was the first 3 days was that black hole phase, which I like to call it, where you start to feel sorry for yourself. You can't even just go to the bathroom. It's just you're in a
Mm.
different place. And then every time you want to do something, especially if you're the one normally looking after people, every time you want to do something, you have to ask someone. So you have to
Yeah.
learn
Yeah.
how to ask for help, and when you're not used to doing that, it then becomes you have to practice what you preach, sort of thing.
Yeah. There's a lot of learnings in that because, like, what are some of the things that like the little ones that you've got to ask for that you never thought you'd have to ask for?
Can I have the medication, please? Can I have the water? um, can
Yeah.
I I'm
Just
gonna
the
need
little
to
things
shower now,
like
so please no one come in. you,
yeah,
you've got one leg
toilet.
out of the bath. Yeah, you got one leg out of the bath and you can't wet that, and then you got the other leg standing where your whole left side is like
Mm.
Roberto Carlos. So
Oh
you're
yeah, yeah,
getting
over the
you're
top.
working that literally to a level. So there's yeah, there's
Oh.
there's so many things I think you just take for granted, and even if you're not that type of person, you just feel very grateful, but also quite helpless in the first 3 days at least.
Mm.
Some people take longer.
Yeah. Well, it's in the position it is too. I mean, it's down around the ankle. So I mean, like if you're standing in a bath or shower, I mean, your feet are usually the first things to go into anything, right? So to get them out, you got to put them in a different. I suppose. I've just got this picture of you up and head down, head down, butt up, leg up in this case. Um,
Yeah,
where does that like you go through this? You've never had this kind of injury before, right?
no.
No. And then now because like, so for people that don't know, Omar wrote a book called Reset. It talks about five dominoes. Because I do want to relate it. Like, how do you use that your knowledge in that book and those learnings since you've wrote that book as well? Because we talked about this on the last the show. That what do you take from the book, and then what have you learned to adapt to like this situation?
Um, I think you take from the book that you have to literally start to focus on the small wins and the
Mm,
small steps, because we're always looking at where we want to go to and what we need to finish, and how much we
mm,
need to do by the end of the week, and I need to be in three different spots on the same day. I need to finish up by then. I need to eat. You think of all these things, and then all of a sudden, it's like, okay, what's the first thing I need to think about now? All right, how am I going to drive to the destination?
yeah.
It's my right
Yeah.
foot. So I can't drive anymore. So that's the first thing. So planning wise, you can't plan. Normally they say, plan your work and work your plan. You can't plan your work because
Yeah. Yeah.
you can't drive. So then, okay, what can I control
Yeah.
versus what I can't control? And then how can I be as productive but without putting that pressure and stress on me finishing everything the way I used to finish things before? Like me and you spoke
Mm,
a couple of times, like, what were you up to? Well, I'm on my way to radio. Then what are you up to after that? I'll probably go to training. And then what are you up to after that? I'll then record the show because the person's in a different country. Okay, what are you up to after that? Then I'm going to head back home because I need to do the podcast so it goes out tomorrow. That's like things now. It's like, no, hold on. Can't go there. Can't do this. What can I do? So I don't feel useless or hopeless. And I think these are all the things where, with the five dominoes, normally when me and you've spoken about them in the past, it's always been like there's one domino out of the five that can affect a chain reaction. And that's how we normally end up having our first challenge. In this case, I need to make sure there's a domino standing. It's actually the reverse. So I went from there's four things that could be good, and it could be nutrition, it could be mental health, it could be recovery, it could be environment. But then now I can't physically train in the first 2 days because I still can't put weight on my foot, and I still haven't been given the clearance from my doctor. So that's the first thing I have to start thinking about, where I'm like, now the mental domino comes first. Because if I don't have that right, I can't start aligning everything. And I think that's probably the most, I don't want to say it's like, it really puts things in perspective. It really, really puts things in perspective, because we often take these things for granted. And then all of a sudden, it's like, hold on, before I was complaining about something so small and I was really annoyed that I couldn't finish it. And now I'm like, I'm not even there. You know what I mean? And it's just one of those things that I'm like, I've come to the realization that I need to be kinder to myself, because I set such high expectations of myself. It's not even like me trying to tell people what I'm doing. It's more like when you realize what you can't do anymore, you think, okay, I was doing a lot. When you're in it, you're thinking, I'm not doing enough. So overall, it's like you're never happy. You can't find that medium. And now you have to all of a sudden be like, all right, to avoid disappointment with yourself, so let's slow things down. Let's run it this way. And this is going to take a while. Everyone that's seen me or anyone that knows an Achilles injury is like, ooh, how long is that? A month, 2 months? And I'm like, no, that's 6 to 9. And that's me being honest, with myself. And now it's coming to that point,
Was it you have to tell and talk and to maybe convince yourself before, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Their process. Or first of all, what was that first process? Is it acceptance? Is it acknowledgement? Is it speaking out loud for it to sink in?
Yeah, I think in the beginning it's like you have hope that it's not a full rupture. I think that's the first thing, because
So,
you're thinking to yourself, okay, I'm okay. Like I'm not dying here, so I'm okay, right? And then
Sometimes it feels like
you
it.
wait for a couple of days. Yeah, exactly. And you wait a couple of days, then you go back and see the surgeon, then you have to wait for the insurance, and it's just a roller coaster of all these emotions building up and everything. Then you finally see the surgeon, who, bless him, who's a top surgeon, and then he goes, right, I'm going to save you the money of the MRI and X-ray, and I'm just going to show you that it's a full rupture. And there's 3 tests we do. So I'm learning about these things as he's talking, because I've never seen it live. So my wife's in the room with me, and then he's done these 3 tests, and he showed how crucial the Achilles is in keeping the calf and the ankle together. And then he's just touched here. One of the calf is kind of flexed. He's touched the middle part, and then there's no movement in the ankle. And then he's touched the last part, and the toes are moving by themselves. So then he's kind of said to me and Maria, there's your confirmation of a full rupture. And I've gone, wow, it's that easy. And he's like, unfortunately, with Achilles, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but it does carry a lot of weight naturally in your body, which we don't normally notice on a regular. So yeah.
The whole weight of your body's going down in that way. Because I want to ask this, because you talk about like the coaching side of things. Like, you're a fitness professional. We're always learning. We're always developing. From do you feel like you have to relearn or teach yourself again, or like You know what I mean? Like, because it's like, okay, it's always easy to give the advice. It's hard to take the advice. Like, I know if having an injury now, I've had plenty of injuries, but I still know if I have another injury now, I still go back and like, oh man, and go through that same process. Like, when something happens, hope it's not that bad. It's like, it's okay, it's all right. But how am I going to get around this? How am I going to get through to the next step of the basic day-to-day living? And then you feel bad about having to rely on someone's the support. And then you got to think, now how do I get back into that rehab phase and state? Either things you've already learning, or you're still in that phase of, okay, been here, I'm stepping forward. What's my next thing I've got to do? Like action. 4 weeks. It's been 4 weeks.
The more, yeah. So the more I can only speak on my behalf, but the more I learn, the more I realize how much I don't know. This is something that's always been the case, right? And I study and I assess and I like to ask questions and I do all this stuff. But then what comes with that, interesting, especially, and I'm sure you can relate to this as well, when we play certain roles or certain parts in our life to other people, there's an expectation of us, right? So I only came to grips with this after a week because I didn't want to go on social media in this time period. In fact, I was kind of like, my mom, bless her, she goes, it's the eye. So they've given you the eye again. And that's why you end up, everyone's saying how this and that about you and whatever. And then you end up really suffering and no one sees how much you suffer. So then when this has happened and I've come in, and even when it happened, I said to her, Mom, I've had a little bit of an accident. I'll be fine. I'll see you later. That's when the rupture happened. But then when I fast forward a week later and I've been given the clearance to go into the gym, a friend of mine who's handling my social media account for that month, it was a gift actually from my sister-in-law. A friend of mine is handling my social media account. And she said, God, you've got a lot of messages, man. Like, this is not normal. And then I've turned around and obviously I have to respond to those messages. She's not going to respond to them. Her job is to post. so when it came down to that, it was so weird because I found something that I probably didn't know, and that was a lot of kindness from people. When you know this more than ever, people sometimes will see or watch our posts or our podcast. They don't necessarily have to like it. Maybe they like it and they don't press the button. It's fine. But when I got injured and I got hurt, I was shocked. And it's a nice thing of the kind messages and the fact people went out of their way to write 3 or 4 words. And the funny thing is, everyone's feedback was, oh, you'll be fine. You're the guy of reset, man. If anyone's got the mental strength, you're going to... And I was thinking, that's a lot of pressure as well. Because, you know, yeah, you know. So I think, like, to answer your question, there was phases where in the beginning it was like, the more I learn about things, the more I realize how much I need to know. And then there was the point of where, like, I'm going to stay away from social media because I don't really want to be showing people the struggle that I'm actually going through, especially that first 3 days, 4 days was tough. And then I went to the gym in my building. So I had to freeze all my memberships because I'm a member at different gyms. I had to freeze all my memberships and say, guys, I'm sorry. I've had an injury. You know, I won't be able to come in because I can't drive. I can't do this. But in my building, there's a gym downstairs. So I'm like, as soon as the doctor gives me the clearance, I'm going to go down and train. So I started going down training. And then people were looking at me like, in a weird way, but because I had these headphones on and I wasn't looking at anyone, I was hopping or scrolling to the next station, whatever, just what I could do. And eventually when people started seeing me every day in the gym, they started to get to know me without talking to me, if that makes sense. Yeah. And the messages I was getting was like, we've got no excuse now. If you're in the gym and your mind's splattered everywhere and you're still getting into the gym and you're doing your thing, what excuses do we have? And I didn't see it like that. I saw it as in like, I'm wasting my time. I'm going down to do upper body again. And it's going to be it won't be a 40-minute session or an hour session. It'll be a 20-minute session. So let's be real here. I'm not spending an hour doing upper body. So, and every day just going in there. eventually the people that weren't talking to me, this lady, bless her, a little bit older, come up to me and she said something to me. So I had to take off my headphones because I wasn't looking in that direction. So she said something. So I thought I was in the way. So I took my headphones off and she goes, she said, it's really good to see you here. And I said, oh, thanks. I said, thank you. She goes, I told my husband about you. I was like, oh no. It's like, okay. And she's like, he was complaining about his back and he was sitting on the couch. And now he started physio and he's going to be back in the gym tomorrow. And
Yes.
bear in mind, I've seen this woman in the gym probably for the last 4 or 5 months. We've never said a single word to each other. And I just thought to myself, there's a responsibility I think we carry. And sometimes it's almost like in a positive way the push you need when you probably think that no one really recognizes or understands what you're going through or how strong you are. And I wasn't feeling strong, believe me when I say this. So there's these small messages in all these things, you know?
There's because there is that side of it, right? We assume all these things that we think people are saying because sometimes obviously maybe we're thinking them. And if it comes to the kindness side that you're talking about, or in your perspective, you had this thought of, oh, they're going to think I'm maybe weak or just not doing much or anything at all. But the opposite's happening. You're inspiring these people. They're saying like, oh my gosh, I wish I was doing that. I wish I could do that. And you actually went back about it. And I want to ask you about this part, going back to where you talked about you didn't want to post for the first 3 days because you thought it wasn't inspiring. It wasn't enough for highlight reels on social media. Do you mind like touching on that? Because I understand what you're saying. Because like, yeah, I wouldn't. Someone like, oh, no one wants to see that. But like you just said, you posted some things, and kindness that's actually the things that sometimes people want to know about because they can relate to it because they've gone through that emotion or they've gone through that pain before, so they can relate with you.
Yeah, I didn't want to post because I didn't feel like I was up to it. I didn't feel like it was relevant. And at the same time, I didn't want people to see me in a bad state of mind. So that's the reason why I didn't post. And the lady that's managing the account said to me, you're getting a lot of messages. And then I've turned around and said, actually my response to her was, because she said it the first time and I kind of said, oh, that's very nice and everything. And then a week later, she said, by the way, you're still getting messages on thing. She said, do you have clips of you going into surgery
when I
or?
text you, it was someone else?
Yeah. No, I'm joking. No. It's me. No. Yeah. When did you text me? Shit, I'm not even here. No. No, what she said to me was, she said, do you have clips of you getting injured or going to the hospital, whatever? And I said, of course, my mum and Maria be taking so many unnecessary videos. So she's like, send them to me. So actually, I sent it to her, and she put together a short video. And this is probably the week of the surgery. Now, bear in mind, at that stage, the last thing I'm doing is on my phone because I'm just really upset and heavy that I can't be normal.
Do what you normally, yeah.
And then like small things like you have to now look for a ramp because you can't use the stairs. You see the people of determination sign or the disabled sign, and you never looked at it like that before, and all of a sudden you have to look at it and think, okay, I need to go this way. So certain things like that where everything comes into perspective is like, oh man, I see it in a very different light now. So that was my reason for going through this, is to see things from a different light. I also believe that it's protecting me from something as well. Because if I would have made the wrong decision, the only way to stop me from not going is to get me off my feet. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I'll do it. I'll step, I'll move, I'll make it happen, I'll leave the country, I'll do what I can. And that was a way of protecting me from doing that.
Because then you sound like you're getting tons of learnings from this.
100%, man. You have to, bro. Like, look, the reality is everyone's going to feel sorry for themselves. Everyone's going to see what they don't have, and everyone's going to feel a certain heaviness on their heart, right? Then you're going to start spiraling into eating more, watching things on the TV more, because you want time to pass, and the time you were passing before in going from destination to destination to train, to recover, to meet friends, that's taken away from you. So if you're not positive about it, or if you're not at least adjusting the screen so you can actually see through it clearly, then everything starts to go the other way. When you personally, like when you speak to people, you've got this energy about you. You've got this, like, you're bouncing off the walls. Your energy's here, your energy's there. So they're used to Grant being that version. I don't want people to see the version that I don't project normally. So I'm not going to go to those places to see them anymore. And then I'll crawl up into my own sense. So I have to work on myself before I go there. And then the funny thing is, like, I went yesterday to this cognitive brain and performance center. And when I went yesterday, they were all saying, God, man, your energy's next level. And I'm on a stroller. So I have to make light of it. Like, I have to build myself up so that I can be who I need to be and who I am naturally. So I will do less of those things, but I will do it my way. And that's the key thing in trying to work on yourself before you start helping others. Because we spend all our lives helping others. And then when these things happen, it kind of just like, it punches you so hard in your face. You have to gain consciousness. And you have to see where your target is. And I always relate things to boxing. But if you get hit in the face and the person's moving and you still can't see what's going on, there's no time to waste and feel sorry for yourself. I did that for a couple of days, I'm not going to lie. But then I need to see where my target is. And once I've seen where my target is, okay, now I got to move to that. Because that target's not going to come to me. So I think that's the kind of learnings you get from it.
Well, why did you feel like you need to? Is it more of a want to, or like you said that a couple of times during that passage there, like you felt like you need to? Do you feel like there's also the added pressures of who the author, the person you are, like you said, that the energy you want, that people know you for?
Yeah, because
still showcase.
No, I don't think it's the showcase part. Yeah, no, I think it's the reason why I say I need to is because when you're in any state of doubt or hesitation, and you've got those two versions of yourself telling you different things. The one version is telling you, just stop. Yeah. Your one on the left is a bit on the other side. But the one side is telling you, listen, just stop, man. Just quit. Just honestly, like, nothing is worth it. And it's telling you something negative. And the one on the right side is telling you, like, you have a responsibility here. Like, you're a person that people may not say it to you, but they go shoulder to shoulder with you. You know, they do things with you. And when you no longer possess that power and that power's taken away from you, then you need to forget about everyone now, and you need to work on yourself to get that power up. It's like those old computer games. You can't, you know, when they generate the power, you start to lose that power. You can't finish the move, you know. So I think, like,
Tekken or Street Fighter,
Mortal Kombat, yeah. You need to be able to do that, right? And I think for me, it was like, if I'm not this way, then I am going to be in a very bad place. And I think it comes down to probably the triggers of your mental health and the things that you've everyone's gone through those things, right? At some point, we've all faced those moments, right? So when you start to then crawl into that kind of state, then that side saying, oh, see what I mean? You just need to stop. And that side is saying, stop feeling sorry for yourself. Get up. Okay, I can't get up, but move towards where you need to go, and start looking at why this has happened. and what you can focus on and how you can focus on it and why you need to do this. Because maybe you weren't giving attention to certain things that you needed to because you were all clogged up about the goal that you wanted to reach. And now, rather than saying, I can't get that goal, what's the point now? It's over. Now it's like, okay, well, what can I do that maybe I was neglecting before? And that's why I said I need to do it between me and myself, because that's the role I play.
It's really interesting to see what we put. I mean, like you said, like we're our biggest, we most harmful to ourselves. You know, it's us that puts these standards, these expectations to do or be, whether it be us internally as physically what we're doing, or us as we're out there in the world and that's how the world sees us. So, like, I can totally relate to that. Just, I think in the last couple of years not been as fit as I have been, and then thinking, man, I didn't want to show or be around people because I wasn't the fit guy anymore. Like if I tried to do squats or try to whatever, it would be like embarrassing. That's how I perceived it. Nobody else for a kid. To be fair, they were like, oh yeah, he's just doing himself. What do you see with the difference, like, bro? Like when it comes to an injury compared to something like, is it easier? Do you find it easier to deal with just an injury than it would be, say, like, for example, maybe it's a financial thing or it's a family thing, like a loss? Because it feels like I haven't been through both, to be honest, and that kind of severity of like a loss compared to an injury. I just feel like with the injury side of things, you'll know you're eventually, in this type of injury, okay, it's 9 months, but you know it'll change. Like you'll get back to normal in a way.
It's a good question. Yeah, I've been through both, and the post that we put up recently on my Instagram had the caption of "Everyone has a problem until it's your health." So that was like the first, and I said to the lady, by the way, if you're going to post anything, it's got to be with this audio. And she was like, I love it. She said, that's great. I said, because that's what I'm going through. And so if you want to put together the montage of me training and all that kind of stuff, put that there, because health is something that we always, even in the book, we mention like prevention over cure, but no one really looks at prevention because we wait till it's too late and then we focus on cure or go to the hospital, get medicine. Health and especially like when you mentioned losses and stuff like that, with losses, I feel like they're scars. I feel like it's something that you don't handle straight away. It could take time. It could take a duration, and some people are still dealing with it. But with health, you look to fix it now because you will be next. You will be the loss if you're not focusing on the health. So yeah. I think for me, the difference between the two is they're both very painful, and I would never say one is more than the other. But I would say with losses, there's scars in you, man. Like it takes time for you to deal with it internally and to have that closure. With health, like you said, in 9 months or however long it takes, I'm hoping to be able to drive again. I'm hoping to go to the gym again. I'm hoping to be able to do all that stuff. In the video, my favorite part of that video is I'm trying to go get on an assisted pull-up machine, and I slipped. And I know what I'm thinking at that specific moment. I know that I'm like, you idiot. Like you almost injured yourself getting on a machine on one leg that you all of a sudden wanted to do. But then it's seconds, I was like, I still need to get on this machine though. so I've had to jump again. Now, if I fall again and it's recorded, that will be outtakes of the year because I've fallen twice. But then I've gone to myself, I still need to get this done. And then there's a feeling afterwards, once I've finished the set, is like, okay, it wasn't that bad. Like you came out of it okay. So on to the next one. You know what I mean? And that's what I mean by there's certain things that you kind of learn about yourself in that process.
Well, when you're riding around on the scooter and you got this massive smile on your face.
Yeah, And they've tagged me with soundtracks of like keep rolling, 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 Limp Bizkit, and the
Yeah.
other one was what was it? It was Ludacris, Roll Out. They take a video of me and they just
Oh,
see me like just moving past.
yeah, I can see all those memes coming out for sure. Like, because you do, you just got this
Yeah,
massive smile.
there should be enough material for a while.
Well, I could answer that too, because the position you're in too, you're a radio presenter. You've always got fantastic energy on that. Like, is there anything affected with that side of things, like the pre-show? Like, you put yourself in a position, the mindset to be able to make sure that it's great energy when you go into the shows. Is there anything different you have to tackle when it comes to that side of things?
I would never insult the intelligence of the listener because the listeners can feel your voice. So no
Mm-hmm.
matter what you try and put on, people can feel that. So I don't think it's something you have to put on. I think actually, to be very honest, radio were very supportive, and it's not often that um, the human side of these things come out positive, and that's me keeping it 100 with you. So radio
Mm.
actually said to me, take as much time as you want. It's a big injury. We'll find cover, etc. I went back the week later after surgery because
Mm.
I needed it for me. I just had to figure out
Okay.
how I was going to get there. So that was something for me that was like, I wanted to be in there. I wanted to be in the
Mm-hmm.
studio. I'm not live as in like on Instagram anymore. I stopped that a while ago. I only go on once every blue moon. Um,
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't want to put an act on. So that was another story in itself, and I think that's something we discussed in the past. But what I
We
found
did,
was I
yeah.
found like I needed to get back in to being in the studio, having the buttons there, engaging with people because that's what I was lacking. So selfishly,
Mm-hmm.
actually, it's more for me. It wasn't for everyone else, and
Yeah.
that was radio, but commentary. You will laugh at this one. So in commentary, when you end up commentating in the Pro League, the commentator's box is at the top of the stadium.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah. Always.
right? So imagine this,
I can
yeah.
see it now.
You will love this. So some of the stadiums that we have here don't really do lifts
Mm-hmm.
to the
Yeah.
commentary box. If you're VIP, it's different because you get a lift to the VIP. If you're a commentator, it's in that box up there. So I've
Yeah.
I've strolled down into the stadium, and I won't mention the stadium because I don't want to badmouth the stadium. But I've gone into the stadium, but it's a big club. It's a big club, and I'll give you the hint. It's one of the biggest clubs in the UAE,
Okay.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I've gone to the stadium, and they've let me in, obviously. And they looked at me like, "What are you doing here?" And I have my badge, like my the thing, and I said,
You on your
"I'm
scooter?
commentating. I'm on my scooter outside." So I've come into the
I love
stadium,
it. I
and
love it.
then I've gone into the stadium, and then the security have gone, "Sorry, we don't keep electrical scooters in the stadium." And then
Yeah.
I looked at him. I'm like, "It's a stroller. There's nothing
Yeah.
electrical about it. Like grannies use this." I've had to really like be defensive about it. I'm protecting the
Yeah. Yeah.
stroller. So I'm like, so so I've said to the guy, "It's a stroller. There's nothing electrical." And then I said, "I just want to get to the box, man. I've come 3 hours before the game." And bearing in mind,
Mm-hmm.
commentators normally need to come in 2 hours before. I've come in 3 hours to avoid any attention, right? So I just want to
Mm-hmm.
get to my box, and I'll figure out how to get down later. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
So anyway,
First step.
he's told, and yeah, he's radioed another security and gone, right, can we let this guy in? And I said, this guy is the English commentator. He's not just someone who's having doing donuts on the pitch. Like, I want to get up
Mm-hmm.
there. So then they said,
Mm-hmm.
okay, let him in, let him in. So they let me in. I've gone and I said, all right. I've looked up and I'm like, which one's the English commentator box? Because now I knew that the challenge I might have is I might have to get up 28 sets of stairs to get to the top of the stadium. I knew that. I knew it. I put myself in that situation because I want to work. So anyway, the guy's gone, I think it's that one. I said, all right. So I've hopped single leg 20
Jesus Christ.
steps up of the stadium. I'm drenched by the end of it. I get there, I open the door, it's the wrong door.
Yeah. You can say that.
It's the wrong door. And the guy said, no, it's not this one. it's that one over there. And I went, why are you pointing so far away? He's like, because you have to go down, back. So anyway, fast forward. I've got there in the end. We've done the game. It was a good game. No one realized I was the English stroller commentator. I've done all that. I've got home. And then once I've got home, right?
Yeah.
Once I've got home, the back tire has given way. And I have landed on my right foot, which is where I've had surgery. And after I got through the whole obstacle course at the stadium, and I've survived it, I ended up falling at home. And I was like, you know what? The funny thing is what I said, thank God it was at home. That was my mindset. Because I'm like, it was so sore and so painful. But I'm like, imagine if I'd fallen or the tire had given way at the stadium. It's a wrap.
Hey, but how did you bust a tire at home?
So you know, on the stroller, there's 4 tires, right? The back right tire.
I've never used this
Well,
before.
there you go. There you go.
Okay, yeah.
Right. Okay. So the back tire, the back tire has just, the screw has just given way, and I don't know this because it's the back tire, and that's where my right foot is. So my first reaction is to put my foot down. It's my first reaction. So I put my foot down to balance, and then I'm like, oh no, that's a bad idea. I'll take it off. And I was so happy that I was off the meds. I had to go back on the meds just to numb that pain off. So yeah.
That's a good story, right?
Yeah.
It's fun,
I haven't shared that.
Especially because the old there's a thing with directions in the Middle East for some reason. It's like, if you don't know, just say you don't know. Don't sit in a wild goose chase, especially in that position that you're in. But that's kind of the learnings that come as well with it, right? Like, I mean, that's something you can't avoid. But that is awesome that you're going in and you're still going to rip out the work. I mean, a week after you're back in there on the radio, you're still doing, man, like you have to go into the stadiums, right? And you're right, every box is at the top. I mean, I have to put gear up there. I've always got to carry the damn stuff up there. It's never like there's an elevator and a trolley to bring it up. Always, it's the most painful part of the production side they have to go through. There's an element here that I feel like I'm missing. Like when it comes to the, I suppose the sporting side, because the athlete side, I wanted to touch on with you when it comes to, I suppose, there's a process like you talk about. You see it all the time on sports, like any kind of sport. Anywhere you watch a sport, and they always go like, "Oh, there's an injury, there's an ACL, there's an MCL, he's busted a hip, he's got a neck fracture, or I think something's going on like that." Is there things in place like, and I don't know if you've used this, but is there a thing in place for athletes specifically? Because I think dealing with it as an athlete compared to dealing with it someone who's a non-athlete, I feel like there's differences in the way that they go about things. Usually, I feel like with an athlete, it's like you usually a bit more goal orientated because you're trying to achieve something already in your sport, and then you got an injury. You're like, damn, okay, it's a setback. I've got to go set my milestones, this, then that, the next, to get back into the team, or because there's a tournament or a competition to come back in, or the team relies on me. Do you feel there's a difference, first of all, between athletes and non-athletes? First of all, do you feel that?
I feel it's a good question because I feel like the first thing you have to do is you have to be able to talk to someone about what is happening on a physical front, on a mental front. I think if you are an athlete, then obviously you have coaches and you have people that are around you that can kind of at least understand what you're going through mentally, because physically everything's going to be on the medical reports. But I also relate that to non-athletes as well, because we might call ourselves athletes all our lives, but we can't be considered athletes all our life because we have to come to the realization that we can't perform at our highest, which is what put us as athletes. Something you said earlier, which was super key, when you were like, I wasn't as fit as before. Yeah, but you were the fittest man in the UAE. So unfortunately, you are going to feel that at one point.
Yeah.
But for everyone else, the normal people, that would be something where you kind of understand what limitations you have, but what strengths you have as well. So you're not
Mm.
kind of kidding yourself, if that makes sense. I think that's the difference between the non-athletes and the athletes.
Or is it a lack of like, because a lot of people have that, it's an expectation. I mean, you were talking about that before. Like, you've got this expectation on yourself. You're not even referring it to the athlete side of you, just referring it as you as a person. For me, like, literally, for whatever reason, I have the expectation. Maybe I'm not going to be as fit or as twice I do. I think I will be. I have got this expectation to be
It's grad.
fitter. Yeah. I was like, and what? At 44, and what? I'll still run faster, lift more, go bigger, still be able to do more than that's my mentality. I mean, I definitely am. I'm a little bit different when it comes to the athlete side of me, because I'll be like, look, I just know I've got to do it and get stuff done. So go get it done, go get it done, go get it done. From the physical side of things, I don't have the same, which is funny, the same attributes when it comes to away from exercise or training, because I've got this thing of, when I'm 100, I still want to be doing this. So if I have an injury, I'm like, well, that's just a roadblock or a bump. Still the same thing. Go do the little things, go do the training, go get the exercise, so that when you're the 100, you're still going to the gym, playing sport, running around. I mean, that's my mentality on it, to be honest. And so I do wonder about that when it comes to you and what you're going through on this side of things. Are you feel like you're better prepared? Like 4 weeks in, you're better prepared moving forward. Now you've had that chance for things to settle in, to find that space, to find that time, that routine.
Yeah. I think I'm a lot more conscious now. I'm a lot more aware, and just started. We only started weight bearing yesterday, so
Mm.
as good as that is, I also have heard of people re-rupturing their Achilles. I've heard of people getting infections in their Achilles, and all sorts of stuff. So I've done my research in that respect. That I'm like, don't get carried away the fact you can now put a little bit of weight on that foot. My whole goal was, it happened August 29th. So we're looking at least March, April. That's I can do that before, then that's unreal. But that's exactly what it is. It's unreal. So can I walk? The first people keep saying to me, "You're going to be back on the pitch." I swear, Grant, I'll tell you now, I'm not even thinking about that. And that's me. Yeah, that's like me in football, and you know this more than anyone when it comes to me. I'm always thinking, I can't wait to be back on. Now I'm like, I said something and I stand by it. I said, I don't know if I'll play again. The reason why I said that was because the way I am programmed is, if I play, I have to play the way I was playing before, if not better. Like you said about the fitness, it's the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now I'm thinking I need to get back to playing that way, because the guys, bless them, in the group are so supportive, and they said, man, we miss your football, we miss the way you play. Still playing, obviously, but like, we miss the way you play, the way you pass the ball, all that. And it's so nice to hear, but I'm not going to let that gas me more, because I stand by. I don't know if I'll play again, because my first objective is to walk. That's my first thing. And like we talk about, like, you can't run before you walk. No, I literally need to walk first. I need to drive. I need to stand. I need to shower. I need to do all these things like normal people before I can think about playing football again. And that's me being honest with myself. And
Is it
that's
the first
something that
time
I think
you've gone through
injuries
that?
don't happen. An injury, you mean, or what?
Like this, so the first time you've been restricted from being able to drive, for example, like that's quite a
Yeah.
thing in life, right?
Yeah. Because my last surgery, and my only surgery before this, was my AC joint. So I could still use my lower half. I could still get into the car. Yes, I might have been strapped here, but the rest of me is fine. So,
Mm.
okay, maybe I won't be able to lift things or whatever, but I can still drive, I can still move, I can still get from place to place. And I was actually at radio with with a strap doing the show. So, but not like this. This is like I've had hamstring, I've had calf, I've had cruciate, and I got through those. Like that was fine. But the
Mm.
Achilles for me and the right Achilles was like as tiny as that Achilles is, how powerful it is unreal.
Well, that's where the expression came from, right? So Achilles heel.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it's
100%.
like it's literally what is it then? What's the word of advice do you take or give to someone? You know that's it's always hard to preempt or to kind of prepare for something like that to happen. But is there words of advice that you would give, or you maybe wish that you had been given? Because you're already a massive advocate of helping people prepare. You know, you're talking about preparation over recovery. So prevention. What is that for prevention tips or advice from you?
Spend the boring 10-15 minutes to stop you from being out for 9-10 months.
That's such a good one. Sorry, I'm laughing
Honestly.
because I'm looking at myself going like, I tell myself that every time I go to do something like, which is nearly every day, I sometimes still don't do it. I'm just like, Grant.
Yeah, honestly, like we all know what to do, but we don't always do what we know. Jim Quick said it best, and he got me with that one, and I still got injured. Okay, you know.
Yeah,
But yeah,
you're
no,
almost 30 minutes
I
in.
think.
You know
Sorry.
what I mean? Yours one was 30 minutes in. It wasn't like
Yeah,
you haven't warmed up yet. It wasn't like someone had taken
yeah,
an action against you or something like
yeah.
that.
Man, I'd done the contrast therapy 3 times that week, leading up to it a month. I was doing my breath work. I was weighing my food, Grant. Like honestly, like everything leading up to that was me feeling good. And it's not
Mm.
like I did anything that I don't normally do. If anything, I was doing all the things I needed to do, and it still happened. So my advice is spend that time on the boring stuff, the mobility, the things that you may not see the calories or the statistics go into stratosphere, but it will save you so much time.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, what about the recovery? It must be helping already with the recovery side of things, right? Because you have that routine, you have that. Well, you've actually learned a new skill, which takes discipline to do the things that you don't want to do. So that in itself
Yeah, and that's
gives
what the
you.
surgeon said as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the surgeon said you're very lucky, and I said nothing right now feels lucky.
Yeah.
He was like, you're very
Whoosh.
lucky. Yeah, yeah. And I asked him why, and he said because normally people lose muscle after surgery naturally, right? But some people
Mm-hmm.
don't have the muscle to do, so they're either more frail or find it harder to stabilize. He said,
Mm-hmm.
you have a good amount of muscle mass, you have a good amount of cardio. Yes, you won't be able to do the things that you were doing consistently with the boxing and the 12 rounds and all that kind of stuff, but at least you have a base. And he said, the way that you're built at 41 is something that is in your favor because even though you might not feel you're in the best position you can be or the best shape
Mm.
you can be, you're actually in a far better off place than a lot of people because you can pick it up now. He's like, I'll tell you,
Mm-hmm.
you'll lose muscle in your right leg, but at some point, you'll be able to get it back and you'll be able to pick up where you left off. And for me, that made me think, like what you just said. Thankfully, at least I was doing some of those things right.
Massively. This, I feel like this is a broken record with people in the world that go, like, obviously we're in the space that's in our mindset. We're around people that, encourage people to be active and to do fitness, to prepare for, I mean, you're in the age you're only over, over 35, even over 30, prepare for later years in life, and I can't even saying that sounds stupid because only being 40s, but you know how much it has helped having that base there to be able to move forward and be able to, like, if I didn't have the base, I wouldn't be doing the things I'm doing today without that fitness, that strength training beforehand, like all that exercise. Is like, man, it's so much easier to pick it up. But it's that broken record where you're trying to encourage or show somebody, but then everyone just kind of looks at you like you're the weirdo, not me. And then they get to that point of something does happen, and they're like, "Oh, I wish I'd listened to you." And I just feel like it's just the screams going out. Like, how do you get through to someone to prevent? No, even though they've seen, like, I mean, I've gone through it with like friends that, you know, someone commits suicide or has passed away, and you're like, man, got to live the most out of life, and then works for like a week, 2 weeks, maybe a month, maybe 2 months, and you kind of slip back into those old habits at times. And so I wonder. I'm still, I'm very honest. I'm still trying to work out what it is to help the people to be able to flick that switch. And honestly, I'm still a work on it, still learning. I mean, I don't know if you've got the answer to that one, bro, but you know what I mean?
No, no, bro. To be honest, I don't have the answer to it because I feel like there isn't one answer. There's so many different subjects to being emotionally aware of when to slow down, when to pick up the pace, when you're being active, when you need to kind of be present. You will thank yourself later on because we're thinking about the future and we're thinking about how we need to get to, like we said earlier, the destination. But when you lose someone or when you lose something or when you feel like, what has this really taught me? The answer comes out later. But because we're too busy thinking about that, we're not in the moment. And then you realize that, for example, let's say me and this person were together at this certain time. People surprise me, Grant, man. Honestly, like maybe because I lowered my expectation of what to expect, what you're entitled to, and all that kind of stuff. I was so pleased with that thought process. It didn't add any mental strain. Because if I message or who didn't ask, rather than wow, I can't believe I got a message from this person or that person, genuinely saying, "Coach, we hope you're okay," or you were with us when we got injured, or even if I have nothing to do with them, they're going through their own healing journey. All of a sudden, that perspective was when people didn't know what happened and they saw me in the hospital. The first thing they said was, "Coach, we hope you're okay." And you don't have to say that to anyone because that coach or that person that you hope was okay could have lost their life, like you said, committed suicide, gone through certain things where they didn't feel they were, and they would have never heard those words. And I get to hear those words, and I'm on a different healing journey. But that's when I think to myself, because I changed my mindset on expecting things and being entitled to things, that made me see the bigger picture, which was, wow, like there are some kind people out there, man. And for me, it makes me want to give back more because if we base ourselves on what people are doing for us rather than what we can do for people, we end up getting all over the place, man, and it becomes so messy.
Yeah, there's some deep thought right there. I love it. I mean, it's. I think the world is full of like. I'll be if I put my hand up as well. Like we can be defensive or from like protective of our feelings, because like it's kind of nearly sad that if we, I resonate with what you're saying because it shocks me too when someone is that kind or that kindness comes out, and I feel like why is that a shock? That shouldn't be a shock. It should be expectation. Like, yeah, I need you. Where's the support type of thing? Man, there's a again, just I love your knowledge. I love your brain. I love the way you put things across, bro. And that's why I wanted to chat with you again and jump back on with you. And, to be fair, it all kind of circled around this ankle injury and, I was thinking of a lot of places to take this conversation, but there's just so much I think people deal with, and what I want to be able to do is share those intricate side of things that people, whether it's an Achilles or it's a knee or a hip or it's just an injury that people go through. I think there's process or mental state that people will feel better, and if they just can relate to someone that's going through it, and they'll be able to help them deal with it in a better way. So sorry talking so much about your ankle. You're probably over talking about your Achilles. Sorry, and maybe scooter. I got a couple of shows in there as well, bro. Got a couple of good stories. I'll never forget that story going up to the commentary box. Oh my gosh.
I'll send you the video afterwards of me sweating buckets. Once I got to the top, I was pissed. I was so pissed.
But you took a video of that one to share, huh?
No, I didn't share it. I never shared it. I kept it in my inbox.
Because it's not like the stadiums are small, are they? Like you said, there's 28 flights of stairs.
28 flights, and you know what? When I recorded it so I remember the names of those two guys that helped me. There's one guy that helped me to get to the top, and my memory sometimes can be bad. So I ended up recording a video to send it to the coordinator of the league to say, make sure you big up Ahmed Al Kani and what's his name, Mohammed Taha. Those are the two names. And I was like, and I was doing it while I was like, make sure you thank.
I don't understand how come no one gave you a lift up there. How come no one just carried you up there?
Well, that one guy felt sorry for me, the security. He went up the first set of stairs with me that were wrong. And when we got up there, he was sweating as much as I was. Because I'm not exactly the lightest.
Yeah, it's not like exactly cool weather temperature in the Emirates at the moment either. So I mean,
no. Listen, I'll tell you, he's strong. That's 98 kgs he's lifting on one shoulder. He's a strong guy.
Big ups to him. We're gonna evolve. I appreciate you, man. Thank you again for your time and for sharing and dropping those bits of wisdom with us here today, because it's just it's always awesome. I'm sure it's helping lots of people out there as well. So keep doing what you're doing, my man. For everyone, make sure you do check out the book. Reset's still on. I know last time we were talking to you in the audio book. Have you got the audio book yet?
It's out at the end of the year.
There you go. Boom.
We finished recording it.
Nice. And then, so the book, where do they find the book?
They find it on Amazon at the moment now. It's out on Amazon, and they can pick it up from there. Or if they want the audiobook, it'll be out on Spotify, SoundCloud, and Apple. Hopefully December, January.
And it's your beautiful voice, right?
Unfortunately, yeah.
You got that radio voice out there. It's like, come on, let's get this one on. And people get a hold of you whereabouts? If you're not, you just
on my social.
I mean, yeah.
The Instagram is probably the only platform I use, and that's at Omar Al Duri, ALDURI, and the first name is Omar, so OMAR.
Awesome. Appreciate you, man. Really appreciate you. Keep up doing what you're doing, man. Big love. And thank you again, my man.
Thank you for having me, man. Always a good time chatting to you, man.
Great stuff. Hi, man. Take it easy.